What's up? What's up? What's up? This your boy Tank.
And this your nigga Mike Millie.
And this is Supreme Conversations, brought to you by Supreme Cuts over here at 1876 Hope Street, where you could catch me and Mike giving these fades all day, you dig? But today we starting off season 2. We back at it with season two. Season 2. We starting off with an attorney from the city, you dig? He goes by the name of Juan Lafonta. What's up, old Juan?
What's up, Tank?
I'm cooling, man. I'm
What's up,
cooling, man. I'm cooling, man. How you been?
I'm doing good, bro. Chilling.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. How work been? How work?
After COVID, things slowed down a lot,
Slow down?
Yeah, because a lot of people don't really have money for insurance, so a lot of accidents, people don't have insurance, and a lot of people, they don't have the coverages to cover the insurance that they need when people don't have insurance. So.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, shit high right now, man. Everything
Super.
high.
Yeah.
Man, I just got insurance for my little boy driving, and that shit then went up $525.
Yeah. And
Just for a 17-year-old.
Not on a month.
A month.
On a month?
Yeah.
A month.
Yeah.
$525, bro.
Are you kicking that out?
I mean, man, my little man won't drive, man. But I mean, shit, some sacrifices we gotta do.
You got it.
Hey, it ain't about that.
Good daddy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to do what it do, man. Yeah,
That's
man.
awesome. Yeah, a lot of people run around in full coverage thinking it's full coverage. It ain't full coverage. It only cover they call, your call. If you get in an accident, he get in an accident with somebody that don't have insurance, it ain't gonna impact him to help him for medical payments, lost wages.
So that's why I say sometimes that shit make me don't want no insurance.
Wait.
Yeah,
Explain this. You telling me he paying an extra $5 for his son to drive and he ain't covered?
If he get in an accident with somebody that don't have insurance and he hurt, it ain't gonna cover his medicals unless he have medical payments or uninsured motors. It's like extra tags you could put on.
Make sure you get the uninsured motor.
Yeah, you have to, especially for a 17-year-old, because they dangerous right now.
So you saying full coverage with
It's
uninsured?
additional coverage policy is uninsured motorists or medical payments. MedPay, the MP, is medical payments, and that's an additional coverage you can get. Uninsured motorists is if the person's uninsured, they'll pay applies to everything like economic losses, hospital bills, lost wages, everything. So usually some people go MedPay because it's cheaper, but usually your MedPay is capped at what your liability is. So you might only get like $2,500, and when you go to the hospital, they're gonna bust your head. So you're looking at $8,000. Who's gonna pay that?
Yikes.
It's hard out here, man.
Yikes.
You know this shit, man. Then they got this water thing on. What is this water shit about, man?
Man, that like I told somebody in the store yesterday, they were like, yeah, all these people buying water, but it ain't a problem yet. I said, look, you think people trust government enough to rely on them to live off water they say gonna come, and they can't even get the street fixed in front of your house for 10 years?
Right, some salt water.
They taking forever with that shit. At least they doing something, though, I guess. Fuck.
I mean, the city streets are looking better.
They're looking better.
Yeah,
Some
Some of them they got a better guy over there. The other cat I think quit, and then a new dude got in. And what they're doing is instead of paving a lot, they're doing the asphalt, which is what they're doing in a lot of like Caribbean countries. Yeah, and you can lay asphalt like that.
Quick.
So
I see that's what they're doing on Broad over there.
Yeah, it's just asphalt it's not a 10, 20-year solution. It's like a 2-3 year solution.
It's like a patch.
Yeah, so it come up, like once you start using it too much, it start coming up in pieces, and then they could try to patch it with other asphalt, but it's not a permanent solution. That's why they do it in Latin American countries. It's cheap. People usually do it around elections, like in Jamaica. You'll be there when they're fixing all the roads to patch asphalt, like somebody running for president.
Can't be too good for the environment, though. It should be smelling.
That shit stink.
I think it's like a diesel base or something to it.
That shit stink.
They doing interstate, Kenna, by Loyola. They're doing the roads.
Oh,
Man,
right,
that
by the
shit
airport.
horrible.
Yeah, by the airport. For the airport.
Can I sue the city if I hit a pothole?
You can sue anybody. You can sue the city. I done sued the city a bunch of times. My grandkids, if I had children, would probably get the donation. And
So you still going through the shit?
Yeah, like the city has a department where if you run over a pothole and they hit and dent your rim, they're supposed to pay for it. They're supposed to handle that. That's the city's
I ain't never heard
responsibility.
that.
Wow.
Yeah, I know a guy that kept getting his rims popped. I just didn't want to go through the paperwork to deal with it. So I just get them fixed. But literally, the city is causing that because they're basically not fixing stuff that they put knowledge of. I got a lady
They
who
hold the whole city.
her car fell in a pothole coming out the driveway.
They
Like
owe,
a
they owe the
fell
whole
in
city.
Yeah, I mean, but we keep letting our friends, people we cool with, run a city that don't have expertise. You know, we keep letting people get in there because they went to this high school or they're friends with this one, and that ain't accountability. You know, people don't like accountable people. I like holding people accountable. I got a lot of friends, but I got a lot of people that don't really fool with me because they're like, you know, he always got something to say. It's because my mom was a teacher. My family demands excellence. The McKennas, the Bagnereses, Mercadales, like all these folks in my family, and they expect excellence. You ain't going to be perfect, but you're not going to keep going off here half cocked. And if you don't know, you surround yourself with more intelligent people so that they can lead you to what's supposed to be. And the biggest failure with Titi is the mayor right now is she will not put people around her who are more qualified than her or take the direction of people that understand this is how we change it. I mean, you have an economic development problem in the city of New Orleans. That means taxation. That means business. That means redevelopment of revenue stream. All that has to be altered and changed. Until somebody comes in and understands that, then we just basically throwing beads and telling people have a drink till you get over it. And then you get another man, they do the same thing. It's all like,
Right.
life can't be beads and second lines. You know, especially if you want to last long term and be about anything. 'Cause,
What did she do before she became our mayor?
I mean, I know she worked with a neighborhood association. She worked with Xavier, but she'd never been in a position where you had to direct a company or be a CEO. And what happens is she didn't have the skills to get out there and really handle those things. And when she's confronted with people that call her on what she knows or don't know or push her to redirect it, she gets offended. And you can't do that in leadership. If somebody's my enemy, Dutch Morial had it to a T. He had a lot of enemies when he got in because they had this whole fragmented black community in the city of New Orleans. But he understood that everybody had to eat. So everybody got to come to the table.
Right.
There hasn't been a lot of people elected since then. And Mark was great. I mean, I think Mark did a good job, but he didn't generate commerce. You know, the last one to generate commerce probably was like Sidney Bartholomew. Nagin, I would see him in the meetings meeting with the folks. It's just it never translated to the development they said they were going to have. We are still talking about developments. Six Flags, Lincoln Beach, the lakefront, City Park, Riverfront, Audubon. We talking about these things for the last 30 years. They've been talking about a racetrack since 1990 in New Orleans East. They've been talking about intermodal transportation since 1995. These things have been here, but they're not sexy, and you can't get direct funding for them right away, and people that contribute ain't really interested in that.
Well, don't you think it'd be bigger than them though, to get shit done?
But you.
That's why he says around yourself with some people.
You talking from a mindset. We from the same neighborhood. We from the same community. I'm a hard head. In this community, everybody hold everybody accountable.
Right.
You used to somebody being general and direct because that's how we are. And we do something wrong, we know we got to look at it now. Now you know you need to look at yourself silly, you know, or now you're smelling yourself. You didn't got to a level where you forgot. Outside of this community and the cultures in the city, we don't have people like that. We have people who are moved here from other places, and it's about a money grab. It's about power. It's about things that mean nothing to somebody who could walk to a grocery store or could go sit at the record store all day long and talk about music. It's a whole different theoretic, but you still got to have a contention of people who understand the economics it takes to maintain that. You know, after Katrina, I hung out a lot with Bill Clinton. And I remember when he first got here, me and Jefferson, Bill Jefferson's daughter, we was all hanging out, him and Bill Jefferson and whatnot. And he told me and Jefferson's daughter, he was like, y'all need to read The Rising Tide. And you need to read this. He gave us like 3 books to read. He told us, you know, y'all need to read these 3 books. So we read these 3 books. And those 3 books was showing one who was controlling the city. The other 2 was talking about economies, like other economies that survive with the same kind of cultural intention that we have here, and working to maintain that diversity, and literally put us on a whole nother level of understanding how the city moved and walked.
Right.
But if you keep going to the election ballot and allowing people to get in here because they gave your people a job or they hooked something up for you and you owe them life. And that's how our culture's like, well, you hooked us up, so I'm loyal to you. But I'm loyal to you until you show me that you're somebody that I can't be loyal to if you're not pushing the same agenda I'm trying to push. And that's why I do a lot of influence in politics, and I write checks and I go to events and I help you coordinate and I target. And I mean, I'm going to do whatever I can to push who I think is trying to help. But in the same token, I can't do it by myself. And if we're not moving collectively as a culture, that, mind you, 7th Ward, 9th Ward, 1.5 meant something in 1991. Don't mean nothing now if there ain't no black people but on the West Bank and 3 areas in New Orleans. Right. So we have to collectively move as a culture to say, this is what our demands are. This is what our expectations are. And then we have to check people, which we ain't used to doing because we people that really get along with everybody and we trust them till they burn us bad. You know, we have to check them and say, hey, look, dude, you're out of order for that. Well, what that got to do with you? It got to do with me because this is a leader in the community that's trying to come up, and you throwing rocks on them to get views on social media. You throwing balls at people, and because you darker than them, you got more street cred than them in the black community that we now have matriculated to. So it's like it is what it is. I have people hit me all the time. It ain't gonna change my flow. And the people I see running behind them throwing rocks too, I'll be like, well, now I know who else to watch for. But collectively slowing me down from helping our community is hurting the people that they're supposedly representing. So if the intention is there, if people really are concerned about how this city's gonna flow, they really need to be concerned about their kids and grandkids being able to live here and being able to enjoy the same things we enjoy.
You ever thought about running?
I mean, I thought a bunch of times. I had like 4 people approach me last week, and 3 of them are really powerful people in the city to run for mayor. I told them I'm not interested. And they're like,
why?
Why would you run?
You're speaking of the change that we need, but you don't want to take that position? Why not?
Why would you run for 8% of the people in this city to vote for you? Why would you run?
How the hell she got in?
Well, she got 8% of the people in the city to vote for her.
So that's all you need is 8%?
Like 8 to 15%. When you talk about chronics and super chronic voters, it's only 8 to 15% of the voter population. You don't need a large percent. People are not participating in elections. If you get 30 in a mayoral election, 40%, you doing the Obama numbers. We have never voted.
That's crazy.
We have never voted in high numbers in this city.
You know, I think you can get that though.
It's not about getting that. It's about you get into an office, and unless the city people have signed off on being accountable and understanding from a cultural perspective, there are going to be some uncomfortable moments. We're going to have to make some uncomfortable decisions. Why would a man at 50 years old say, I'm going to give up the next 10 years to represent you, and you ain't even caring about you?
So you're saying even if you got in, you don't have the power to structure the right team to do what you need to do.
You don't have the leverage of the community to make the decisions to hold other people accountable, so you have a leverage across the board to make things happen. Because what happens is if you, let's say 20, 30% of the vote hang up, right? That means you still got 60% of the voting population that come in and say, oh, I want to recall and actually make something, and you got to focus on that. If you get in and only 30% are processing, and they're like, okay, we're going to push this, that, and the other, right? But you don't do what they do, then it only takes that to get you out. It's trip, dude. And
a lot of people not even in our culture, man.
I didn't vote.
I mean,
no.
You voted for the mayor?
No, I didn't.
See what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm sitting here with y'all in the barbershop, and we pushing this agenda. But it's like, why would I give up? Like I was elected for 10 years. And prior to that, I was elected for 5 years. Well, not elected. I worked for Senator John Johnson, John Hinkle, and this other senator, the state capitol, for 5 years. Then I came home for a couple of years, practiced law, went back out there in 2005, and practiced from then probably about 10 years as a state rep. That's 15 years of my life.
So you got the credentials.
Yeah, but it ain't about winning. It's because I could win. My uncle, I'm related to Michael Bagneris. He's like an uncle to me. He's my mom's first cousin. He ran twice. They asked me every time he ran, before he ran, you want to run? No. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because the community has to want something different. You know, there's an old saying in politics. It's like communities don't get the leadership they want. They get the leadership they deserve.
But they don't see the people. I mean, they think they're just putting people in office 'cause who they see on TV. They don't really know the people. Like, you got to get to know the mayor, and you got to get to know the
You
people.
walk around the city and shake hands. I could see it happening. When is it?
It's in 2 years, but this is what you need to understand.
You got to be a part of the community, man.
It's not about winning.
She did it without being.
That's what
And
I'm
I
saying.
didn't know
And
she
that's
was
why
that
a lot
savvy.
of
We've had a
and
bunch
that's-
of people who wasn't part of the
and that's
community.
why a lot of people don't like Tita.
But it's not. It's at the end of the day, it's not about like or dislike. It's about the mindset of one vote does matter. One person does make a difference. If this community, if we as black people, I'm gonna say this to the camera, if we as black people stop worrying about bullshit and we start looking at each other for the greatness each one of us represents. I don't care if you smell like weed. I don't care if you got a felon. I don't care if you're on Section 8. I don't care if you got 8 kids. None of that matters to me. You should be able to look at your brother and your sister. That's my brother and my sister.
For sure.
And if I see that kid fall down, like I see in a foreign country, I'm going to help that kid up. I'm not going to say that ain't my kid. If I see that kid doing donuts in the middle of the whatever, I'm going out in that street and say, bruh, we don't do that. You're going to mess our street up. We just got it fixed, bruh. When we get to a point where we have a community again, I'll run for anything you want me to do. I'll do anything you want me to do. I'll fund it. They ain't got to give me $1. The problem I have is there's no accountability like that. You can't ask for government to do stuff that communities should be doing. And before I make it about race and all this other stuff, I want to say we have to learn to love each other for our differences. I tell people all the time when they give me this bullshit over light skin, dark skin bullshit, I be like, black is Africa, the continent. It's not South Africa and Nigeria alone. If you go through Africa, they look from the range of this table.
Yeah.
I can't go around New Orleans and say we're a reflection of our African people and then sit up here and say, well, I got an issue with you because you look like you from Zimbabwe. I look like I'm Congo, and he look from Egypt. Right. They don't do that. They're like, we African.
Right.
We trying to get our stuff done. We have never passed as a people to understand that we're at the same place. And that divisive BS was brought to us. That black-white stuff, that ain't nowhere else but the United States.
Yeah.
And we that self-hate stuff and not realizing we need to ask who's next to us for help has helped destroy our community. Because the only people that's asking for help now, they're so far back, how can you help them other than get them counseling, get them drug treatment or whatnot? Even financially, you can get, I could talk to you all day long about financial literacy and how to fix your credit, but if you don't have the money to pay the outstanding bills that's on your record, or you don't have a job to put yourself in a position to start saving or do certain stuff, or you got judgments and liens against you, how do you move forward? You move forward in everything through working as a community. And until we come back to helping each other out, we stuck, bro.
Who decides minimum wage?
Federal government.
I'm about to say that's the government.
So that has nothing to do with that's not put on the ballot. They don't. There's no vote for that. There's no. They're advocating for that. Trying to.
Well, what they can. The city council's done a couple times where they've changed. If you do a contract with the state or you do a contract with the city, they can change the wages they pay based on that. But that's only for those. It's like they can't govern a business to say, hey, we're doing it. Now, if the state says, okay, we're going to change the minimum wage to reflect this, and it goes up, it will, just like taxation.
What is minimum wage?
I don't know what it is now.
Man, I heard that shit like $7, something like that. Yeah, we low, bro.
That's $7 an hour, man. I thought it was like 10.
No, we low.
I don't know what it is right now.
9.25 or 10 something.
I thought it was up to like 9 to 10.
Yeah, and that might have been the pandemic.
I ain't never paid nobody under $10 to come work with us. I mean, like, even if I get administrators, we try to start them now at least $13, $15 an hour.
Right. What you looking up?
Yeah, I'm curious. Ooh, 7 1/4. What you gonna do with that?
I remember it was $3.35.
And all this shit going up on the people.
That's when I first started working.
Crazy,
it was $3.35.
man.
And when they jumped it to $4.25, we was excited. It was a whole $1.
Yeah, I was at $5.25 back then when I first started.
So, the mayor. I mean, is can we blame everything on her?
No,
You know,
no.
who do we blame? Who do we point the finger at?
You got
Ourselves?
You got a mirror?
Yeah, I was just about to say you say you point one, you got
Yeah,
three
yeah.
coming
You heard
back
that
up.
before?
Pull back. Yeah.
Point one. You
So
got
the
three.
preachers say that. You point one finger to disperse upon somebody, but four more point back at you.
Yeah.
I think it's at all levels. I mean, communities fail themselves because now you got people that's calling themselves prophets in the community and leadership in the community angling for nonprofit dollars. You got people that was in the streets doing their thing that stopped moving like that, but they're not going to the next generation and telling them to stop moving like that. You got other people that have, I know people that got barbershops, and I ain't saying it's one of them because I know y'all don't do this, but they got places in the city where there's people cutting heads that don't cut heads.
Right.
Where's the accountability there? And you mad about crime, but you facilitating crime in a retail operation.
Right.
I mean, same thing on the streets. You know, you go to certain liquor stores or whatnot. There's certain places where they got heat. You know where it's at. Nobody's saying nothing about it. But then they talking about all this stuff happened. Where they got that from? Who set them up like that? Who did this? You know what I'm
See,
saying?
I thought it was just as simple as I'm the mayor. We got a problem with blighted property. Okay, I got my team.
Right.
That's on the agenda. That's what we discussed that morning. We coming up with a plan to get this shit taken care of. Isn't it that easy?
Nope.
No?
No, because
We need funding, so we call who we need to call for the funding.
It's not even just funding.
No?
No, succession law.
That's
If you
why I
got-
say it's
if you
bigger.
got 40 kids on a property, how do you take the property from 40 people and give it to somebody for the tax outstanding without giving them an opportunity to take it back? How do you destroy something that you haven't cleared title to notice? You couldn't even find all the 40 kids because 2 of them just disappeared. You can't move. That
There's
stops
a
the title
lot
from
of
moving.
problems with them.
I mean, in streets, you got to have funding for it. They had residuals after Katrina. It got misused and misspent. You went from one mayor to the next mayor to the next mayor. Everybody getting a bunch of money and figuring out how to reallocate it to stuff. I mean, like, we had mayors, and I'm not calling no direct mayors out.
Well, who holding them accountable for this?
Nobody. You
man.
still-
That's why
you
they still in
kissing-
office,
people
and that's why they
kissing
still
their
doing
ass
what
when
they
see
do,
'em in
man.
public.
Yeah, that's why they do what they do.
I'm gonna give you one, and I ain't even just talking about TD. I'm talking about all the mayors that passed. If the community turned their back on them physically when they went in public and did not engage them, they gonna start doing some shit because they gonna feel like whatever. But that ain't like the community, because guess what? He was cool with the mayor at one point, so he got to go to Gallia Hall and hang out. Now you a new mayor, so now you cool with him. Then there's a different person each time, everybody taking turns. So dude's like, well, fuck, when they went to Gallia Hall, I ain't say nothing, and that mayor wasn't doing shit, so I'm going to have my time. I know a dude right now, cool as hell with the mayor. Know the mayor doing dirt, but it's probably his first time he's been able to go to Gallia Hall for a parade, or the first time he's been able to go to certain parties or be in certain circles. And you telling that person to say, well, I'm going to give up my day in the sun when you already had yours. That's how they're looking at it.
Let me ask you this question.
It's only in the urban cities that this shit is happening, though. Why is that?
It ain't the urban cities.
I mean, that's all you hear about is in the urban cities. You don't hear about it nowhere else.
It's happening in other places. If you look at Deer Park, if you look at Terre Haute, Illinois, if you look at Paducah, Kentucky, I mean, like, just a bunch of, I have friends all over. I'm in the fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma, and we have a lot of ties to small towns. But they doing worse than we doing because they don't even have the money to start the infrastructure they need. And they so polarized because we have the strength of having black people here. You go to towns where you're the only black person in the class. My ex-girlfriend used to say her friends would try to help her at the end of the day of school to help her wash it off. Because she thought her skin tone was something that could wash off because they never seen it before.
Oh, man.
So that's where, this is a whole nother dialogue. That's what really starts to happen is we have forgotten that New Orleans is really the anchor for black people nationally. You think Beyonce and all these people come through here for street cred doing it because we just cool like that? We are the fundamental anchor of blackness nationally. You go to other communities. Essence ain't here for no. It's the hottest part of you. You think they come here because they love New Orleans and the airport's all good? No, it's because this is where the earth was scorched. This is where blessed ground is. Congo Square is. this is where we are real. I got friends from Haiti that come here, people from Brazil, all kinds of stuff. They say, it's the only place in the United States where I feel like the same as I feel at home. And they don't have that in Atlanta. They don't have that in Houston. They don't have that in LA, Chicago. We still have that here, but we're squandering it, if not squandered it, because we stopped realizing the latitude we had. Do you know before Katrina, we controlled the black bench nationally? That's the law judges. The Black Bar Association. We had the biggest groups of black politicians, clerks, community leaders. We had anchors and seats on teams for Prisoner Pipeline, for kids programs, social welfare organizations, national stuff. I mean, NAACP, Urban League, you name it. We had fiefdoms everywhere.
All right.
When Katrina happened and they reduced those seats and they took out all that stuff and a lot of our people went out, the air went right out of the bag. And we never got back to that. And that's what people don't realize when things got stalled. And I'm not blaming Bush because I don't even think he realized it. That's too complicated to even understand. But when you had that stall for 1 week, you effectively cut the legs off the Democratic city in the South that gave breath. Do you know Treme is the oldest black neighborhood in the United States? It is older than Harlem.
Shout out 6 Walt, baby. That's
Who
my
was
hood.
our state representative
6 Walt.
when for Katrina?
Me. 'Cause I had all the way French Quarter, all the way to Gentilly.
All right. So it's still sectioned off. So there was others.
What do you mean others?
When you say you only had?
I only had part, like the way it's cut up, I had part of the French Quarter, St. Philip over all the way to Franklin, then from the river all the way to, I want to say it went to almost Fillmore, and then I had part of basically City Park all the way over to Franklin.
So
That's a nice
there's only
section.
one state rep, right?
No, they have like 9 state reps in the city.
All right. What you say divide? Like what the rest of? So that's what I want to ask. I'm the mayor. I'm trying to figure this shit out. I'm the mayor, and we got money, we got funds for. We want to move City Hall.
Right.
We got $8 million to move City Hall.
They don't have enough.
How easy is it for me to get a piece of that and put in my bank account?
A piece of
Like how easy is it for me
Talking
to
about that
steal
bread.
some of that money?
How could you?
Because I'm trying to
personally take
figure
it, or
out
does
how
the
the
mayor?
hell I keep seeing these stories about our
Politicians
mayors
stealing.
stealing the funds that's allocated for the city.
Well-
How easy is it for me to touch that money? If it's
Well, the wisdom. Think about it. You got the Wisdom Fund, which is what pays for that whole upkeep of City Park and all. It's like huge fund. I think it's like hundreds of millions of dollars. They keep taking money out of that to do other stuff, and they keep going to court getting sued over it because they're like that fund was set up as a trust to pay for
City
this,
Park.
but they took it and started spreading around other people. So the way you do it is like, let's say you like the mayor. So the mayor's like, well, I want you to run my Safe Streets program, so I'm gonna pay you 100 racks, and it's gonna come out this Wisdom Foundation stuff that I don't necessarily have all the ties to it. That's how you get the bread.
he cuts back a check to, ooh, damn.
I mean, when they had the new mayors, they have all these deputy mayors, right? Well, you already have secretaries of groups. You already have secretaries of labor, tourism. You have directors of that already. But they created these other things called like deputy mayors. Each one of them gets paid over $100,000 a year.
Who created that group? What is it called? The Wisdom?
The Wizard Foundation, that was like decades before we even came to this earth.
Now, how they get in?
They were rich people in the city, just like the Wisdoms that gave money to Dillard and the Kabakoffs. That there's like a lot of old white money, like the Sears Roebuck Foundation people were here, and they got tons of money in trusts and stuff like that that help specific programs or help specific people. But what happens is we not at the table for a lot of that stuff because there's a fiefdom of people. Again, accountability.
Right.
There's a
Same
fiefdom of
people
people that's keeping their people at the table. You know, like I'll give you a great example. Rita Benson is Tom Benson's granddaughter, and the Saints owner, Miss Benson, cool lady. When she died, she gonna give her money back to this group. And the group's basically going to get like $1 billion to manage for nonprofits and events and all this other stuff that happen in the city. But when I go to the group, it don't look like us. Maybe one.
Right.
And that one person services 100 kids, 100 black kids. Does that look like that justifies the spend of $1 billion on 100 black kids? You give me $1 billion,
And people
I could
supposed to
say
be rich, man.
250,000 black kids.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So when I started seeing it, it was like, yeah, well, she's giving money back to the city. I'm like, well, who's on the board? Well, they don't like me, some of them, so I ain't gonna get the money to help my community. I gotta make my money myself and help my own community. So it's all them games that's still being played, those groups and those fiefdoms. And again, the poorest person in the world could walk up to somebody and turn their back on them. And I'm telling you, if there's one thing I came up with in this podcast taught you was to tell people the next time you're around somebody that's not doing their job, turn your back on them. Don't engage them. Don't talk to them. Don't get an explanation. Turn your back on them. Because if we start operating as a community, I don't care if you got $1 or you broke. Guess what? If you turn your back on enough of us do it, they're going to start feeling it. Social media sting them. Then all they do is go to the guy that got the social media page, make friends with him. He got paid. So,
Right.
But if the community as a whole feel like something's not being, turn your back on.
I said $8 million to move City Hall, just hypothetically speaking. I heard you say that's not enough. How much would something like that cost?
Oh, I couldn't even. My uncle would probably tell you. They were trying to move City
That
Hall.
ain't enough, dog.
The thing is this. First of all, City Hall have parking. If they sell that parking garage to somebody, they get residuals, or they can operate themselves and own it or lease it. Then there's the land that City Hall's on. They have an adjacent property where the Supreme Court was on Duncan Plaza. They can relocate that whole thing and build it right across. The way the state had the plan was that was going to become a trailer park for like tailgaters.
What,
That
the
whole
park?
park. And it was going to close off porches, that whole thing, make it like a green space for like tailgating. Kind of like what they had at Saints. It was part of a larger plan that they put together like 20 years ago. So when they start looking at the numbers, they start fighting over location. Well, why are you fighting over location? State owns Duncan Plaza, and the state just transferred over there. No, we might want to go to this private building up the street. Who owns a private building? Who's contributing to whose campaign that owns that private building?
Right.
Who is a maxed out contributor? We got somebody right now, and I'm cool with the dude, but he ain't being accountable. Got that big tower in the middle of downtown. Bruh, it's falling.
It's sitting out here.
You wait for that to fall and kill like 5,000 people and file bankruptcy?
Man. Shit hitting people.
I got 2 clients got hit driving, boom, something fell on them.
Shit hitting
You
people.
gonna file bankruptcy and then what? You know what I'm saying?
So that's not even stable enough to hold City Hall.
What ain't stable up in the whole city?
That building we talking about, that you're sitting.
Oh no, that
That's
building
gone.
that building got stuff on it that was plaster Paris to look like martyr that's dusting away. And
Man, City Hall got about 100 rooms in that motherfucker, man. You know that's gonna be more than $8 million.
yeah, I mean City Hall, it's not just City Hall. You're looking at City Hall, the clerk's office, Civil District Court, everything, that whole compound.
So what is the thing? Why would they even want to move it? Is it they have outgrown it? What?
Oh, have you been in it?
It's
It's been a
throwback.
while.
It's outdated.
Yeah, it is
It's
outdated. It's
Yeah.
outdated. But and you can't really renovate. That's too much renovating with all that's going on.
Yeah.
Man. I see.
And they
Outside of
still
C.
doing
Murray.
paperwork down there, man. You know, we've been through this
I've
shit,
been
man.
a couple of times. You
They're
right.
doing paperwork. They
Bruh.
ain't no computer systems and all that shit. They
I
ain't.
won't even start. And,
Yeah,
I mean, like a
man.
lot of people think the projects got knocked down because they was trying to get rid of our people. They wasn't. They was getting rid of evidence. There's so much lead and with that asbestosis, all that. When they knocked down things, there's no evidence, all that stuff. Our people been exposed to that for 3 generations.
So they can't get paid.
No.
That's a wrap.
What's your
Oh, they a
suggestion?
fool for that.
Oh, what?
City Hall
I'd have knocked it down.
They're a fool for that.
and just rebuild.
No, I'd have knocked it down, sold it to the developer, take the money I got there and rebuilt it on Duncan Plaza. I would have asked the governor of the state to donate the land at Duncan Plaza. I'd have took a residual on parking, and if I was going to build anything, if I knocked it down, it'd be a large-scale parking garage to house people that's going to be downtown. And if that wasn't enough money, I'd have built stuff on top of the parking garage that could sublet to retail. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do that's a prime piece of real estate. I mean, you could get an anchor tenant in there big time, but it's got to be somebody that's commercial savvy that don't have a agenda. You know, because if you put Wet Willie's in there selling barbecue chicken and nobody know, I mean, like, why? How did Wet Willie's get this?
Right.
You know, but if you get up there and it's like, this is the master plan for the new Popeyes station. Okay, that's probably going to be here in 20, 30 years, and they got the money and whatnot to do what they got to do. So it's there. They got a bunch of buildings downtown. They could have retrofitted Charity Hospital.
I'm about to say, man.
But I think Charity's too far down, and I think moving Charity awards, they said affordable living and assisted living is kind of what they're going to do with that.
What you think about that?
That's like a still.
I think that'll work because we have a housing density issue. If you look at the model.
So one big project.
No, it ain't gonna be one big project.
All right.
What, you gonna say that?
Has to be a big project.
You gonna say?
Yeah,
Hold up.
that's a gigantic project.
When you say project, you mean project like Iberville? Or you talking about
that's what he talking
project
about.
like Iberville, not project.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Let me explain something to you.
Yeah, man.
If that's the case, every time you build a large-scale development with mixed use, you're going to have that issue. You know, they're building that big thing down by the convention center. And they got, Shell just committed to putting like 10,000 jobs in the facility. So it's going to be quasi, basically like assisted living, affordable housing, commercial space, and parking. That whole lot by Mardi Gras World. And that's going to be completed by next year. They got Top Golf going out there and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So they already started.
Oh, they already started that, bro.
City gonna be a fool in the next 10.
They going to be, by Super Bowl, bro.
City gonna be a fool.
Man, that homeless shit down there.
So let me finish your project statement. People who have money are not going to invest hundreds of millions of dollars to develop something into a project.
Gotcha.
And it ain't the same project before. And mind you, the only reason they considering it is because they understand you're going to build all this stuff, but who going to work there?
Right.
So they got to have a worker structured part of it. That's what they're saving the culture for, the labor. You go to even the Middle Eastern, there's brothers cooking in the back. There's sisters cooking in the back. There's servers. I'm still waiting for some of these rich places to start hiring black servers and black, because they still ain't some places doing that. Still not adhering to it. And I go there and I'm like, I can't come back. And they're like, wow. I'm like, where the brothers at? Where the sisters at?
Right.
They're food prep. All right. Can I go in the back and eat with them?
They're in the back cooking. They cooking, man.
So until we get that kind of access. So yeah, I don't see anything being done that's going to be that kind of way. And then the other part, what was the other one you asked? The other question?
The homelessness, man.
I
that
heard,
area is crazy.
I heard the mayor's scared of the ACLU. And literally, it's a health and safety issue. They've documented it well that things have been happening. And they just got to get really aggressive with it. They got to really, as soon as people start putting up, it's all the way on the Elysian Fields now.
Like we got people under the bridge on Elysian Fields. People under there, man. A lot of people.
You know, and they can't just let them keep down and being undisturbed. If they realize that it's going to be a point, it was the same thing they had with the gutter punks. Like they kept hanging out and they would pull them in, they letting them out. Then they start walking with dogs, and the police like, I'm not gonna arrest them because I gotta deal with the dogs. I gotta deal with all this other issues.
And it's not a race thing either.
No.
It's both and all.
Again, how I'm gonna get the people off the corner, begging people for stuff, if people still giving them money. That same mindset. If people ain't doing right, turn your back on them. I feel bad when I go up there. I feel bad, but guess what?
Yeah.
How many times you go in the same intersection because that's your area, and it's the same person for the last 3 years? It's different when it's somebody who has need, but not somebody who's profiting off benefit other people. And look, it's sad, bro, but we got to hold a lot of people accountable.
I want to say I haven't got I want to give vibe from anybody in a long time. Like I haven't seen a homeless person. I mean, somebody asking for money. Well, I had that feeling in my heart, like, man, he looking like he really.
Nah, they be needing it, bro.
It be seem like they playing games.
Nah, them people need it, man.
Seem like they be playing them games, just holding them signs, getting them dollars.
I know too for a fact that don't need it.
I mean, they do what they do, you dig?
And I'm giving.
I mean, me too.
With
me
labor,
too.
and I give, but at the end of the day, if I see kids out there selling water and whatnot or doing whatever, hey, babe, here's $20. You don't have to give me nothing.
That's
if I see you out there
yeah.
on a hustle trying to get it, then I'm going to help you get it. But I'm not going, when all this begging, that got to stop, bro. We would never know begging people, bro.
Nah.
You know?
I pull up to the red light, you got a sign. And, damn, you know. But then you put the sign behind the sign. You smoking a cigarette, man.
Right,
Fuck out of here.
right.
Man. I'm not buying no cigarettes, man.
I mean, they got habits too, bro. Just like
I'm not buying no
else.
I seen a
cigarettes,
dude
bro.
with J's
That's a
on the other
habit
day.
you need to put aside because you homeless. You need to eat.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
And
I
I'll bring
feel
him
you.
food all day
Yeah,
long.
but
And
they
he
don't-
got
they
a
don't
pack.
Want, they don't want us doing that
want the
no more.
food.
They don't want us doing that no more. So
I used to bring food under the bridge
They
and
don't want
help
us
because you
doing
see
that.
families under there and people and like try to help out, but it got to a point. To your point, you got people under the bridge or the overpass, right there by Chapatulas. Their area got so big they just built a big fire pit to keep all the families around the tents warm, right? Guess what the problem in that is? It's right under the underpass. Do you know you heating the rods that hold up the underpass? What that mean when you drive on that underpass?
How old is that?
No, it's a problem. They already, I mean, like literally you're under bridges igniting stuff. Then they had people running a cable in a channel 6 to steal the electricity.
I remember you saw the picture when they didn't have that bridge right there, like a park all
it
the way
was a
down.
park.
Yeah.
And we ain't touch on it, but that's something I'm concerned
Man,
about
we could
too,
be
is
talking all
how much
night.
how much of the parks got sopped up.
Right.
Riverview, Carrollton Park now. City Park, the soccer stuff. If you ain't got money, your kids ain't participating in that. So how do we enjoy our own spaces that we had before? I mean, where we got to go now? The Pink Building ain't even in no more. We can't get a hot sausage we like no more. I go to the daiquiri shop. That's my favorite hot sausage in the city right now. They do patterns of good. But look at what we got left. And it's like, when are we going to wake up and say, turn your back, hold them accountable, and participate? I'm sitting in here, and many times y'all need me to come, I'm going to come. I don't miss votes. I don't miss
We
elections.
need to stick together as a people, though.
If we all ain't doing the same
that's
stuff.
what we do. We got to stick together.
You know?
Give our city folks a last word. Give us something. Talk about that. Say something. Give us something about sticking together. Give us something.
Before we get
What
out
do you
of
see?
here.
We are. Give us something.
I
Give
just-
us a last word.
My
I'm
last
trying to
word is
give
like,
you the last words to give.
I don't think it's over for us. I think a lot of people think we done. Our culture's done. Our people's done. And ain't nothing we could learn or move from. And I don't think anything's further from the truth. I think we have to start loving ourselves again and loving our sisters and brothers and embracing them and helping them. Stop all that goddamn hating on niggas. Cause it ain't saving us.
Right.
You know, if you want to be petty on some bullshit like somebody hair funny color or somebody wearing Daniel Green slippers in in some formal place. But all that other stuff, man, ain't no place for that. Our kids are starving for education, for experience, for guidance, for leadership, and we not even stepping in. So if you want more people to sacrifice their time and their money and their efforts to make your community better, then you take your time and your efforts to make other people's community better. And at the end, we'll get what we got to get.
And this was a supreme conversation. You dig?
Strong.